A higher education war between Harvard and the Trump administration. The stakes are raised with billions of funding on the line. Joining us tonight is attorney and professor emeritus at Harvard Law School, Alan Dershowitz. Great to have you on the show, Alan. So as you know, some late developments today. Harvard has sued the Trump administration, and it sounds like two Republican attorneys are representing Harvard. Are you surprised by the legal action?
No, it's a tactic to try to force a negotiated settlement. Harvard cannot win this lawsuit ultimately in the Supreme Court. Harvard has the right to teach the way it wants and to hire who it wants, but it has no right to get federal funding. For example, if this were the South in the 1950s and a university were allowing Klansmen to come with masks to harass black students and was teaching white supremacy, no one would object if the federal government said, hey, we're not going to give you federal funding, we're not going to give you tax exemption. So Harvard has no right to federal funding, and therefore they'll lose the suit. But nobody wants a 2 or 3 year lawsuit. So I think the selection of lawyers is a message to the administration. Sit down, negotiate, we'll resolve this.
Some critics have said that the threats of funding, that's unlawful leverage that the administration is using. So it sounds like you don't agree with that?
I don't agree. I think that the universities have no right to receive federal funding. And indeed, there is a Supreme Court decision that says that tax exemption can be cut from universities that violate the law and discriminate. So I think Harvard has a weak legal case. Maybe it has a strong moral case. And it doesn't want to look like it's giving in to the government because it has a very left-wing faculty, very progressive student body. And the last thing that the president and board wants is to be accused of capitulating to the Trump administration.
You mentioned the Supreme Court. As we look wider at what is going on, whether the deportation case involving Abrigo Garcia or the Trump standoff with Harvard, there is a clear battle here between the judicial and executive branch. What is your expectation? Could both of these cases go before the Supreme Court? Could we see more cases go before the Supreme Court?
Yes, I think we'll see major clashes between the executive and the judiciary. The executive pushing the envelope more than any president since Franklin Delano Roosevelt, and the courts are fighting back. This is not a constitutional crisis. I want to emphasize that. It's a constitutional conflict, and our system of checks and balances and separation of powers can resolve this. And I think all these issues will be resolved in a compromised way. For example, on the deportation, the Supreme Court will rule that the president has the power to decide who stays in the country and who doesn't, but he has to do it the right way, pursuant to due process. So the administration will win on the merits and lose on the procedures in some cases. So we'll see split decisions both in the academic area and in the judicial area. But the system of checks and balances is working fine. It's the way it's supposed to work. It's the way it's worked since Thomas Jefferson fought with the John Adams judiciary back in 1800.
No one will disagree. We're seeing major escalations rapidly. Alan Dershowitz, thank you for joining us. Appreciate your perspective tonight on the National News Desk.